Hello and welcome to The Vaccine. I'm Jeremy Fernandez. Well, we were warned to expect higher case numbers with the arrival of Omicron, and it has eventuated. New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia are all reporting new records in case numbers. Some states have responded with further control measures, but others have this week relaxed the rules. New South Wales has done away with mask mandates in shopping centres and hospitality venues, while Queensland is reintroducing them in some settings. The Prime Minister says we're now in a different phase of the pandemic.
We can't go back to lockdowns. We all know that. Right from the start of this pandemic, we have always sought to balance saving lives and saving livelihoods, and we almost always must protect lives and protect livelihoods. And that remains our goal.
So some communities are still vulnerable because of low vaccination rates. The Northern Territory town of Tennant Creek has again gone into an immediate 3-day lockdown after new cases were detected there. Australian health authorities are speaking with their counterparts overseas to try to learn as much as possible about Omicron. The UK, one of the many countries experiencing a surge, is seeing almost 90,000 cases a day. And while we can expect more infections here, the Chief Medical Officer is urging us not to focus on that particular figure.
The most important thing is to look what that does for the health system, particularly hospitalisations, particularly the intensive care, but also our primary care system. That's important that we do plot that, and we've made lots of plans about how to surge in that regard.
So, how will the health system cope? Associate Professor Doug Johnson is an infectious diseases physician and head of medicine at the Royal Melbourne Hospital. He joins us now. Dr. Johnson, thanks for joining us. What shape is our hospital system in right now?
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. So currently the situation remains definitely under control. We're at much lower levels than we were a couple of months ago. At the moment, we've got 15 patients on our wards at Royal Melbourne and only 8 in ICU, and around 80 on home monitoring. And that's very different to what we were a couple of months ago when we were over 100 patients on our wards. All our staff are double vaccinated and most are boosted or have got triple vaccination. We're certainly encouraging all of our staff to have that done. Our hospital's very prepared. We've got obviously very high numbers in the community, but at the moment that's not impacting our hospitals, which is fantastic. We've learnt a lot over the last 18 months, so we're prepared, and in fact we're meeting daily on how we might prepare if the numbers do increase, and we're expecting they will increase. Our staff are experienced, and now it's very safe, and it feels very safe on the wards. We've got very good PPE, we've got very good ventilation and very good measures of infection control from a staff safety point of view, but also fantastic treatment options for patients who do come in with COVID. I think, we've learnt a lot with the various variants that have come through, and we know that things change and things change rapidly. So we're waiting for more info about Omicron, but certainly the early signals are, as we all know, that it's very transmissible. People certainly need their boosters. There's a lot of data now coming out of England and elsewhere that 2 doses, your protection or your immunity will wane after about 3 to 5 months. And so we're very keen for people to have their boosters, both our staff as well as patients, and particularly those who are elderly and with comorbidities. We think it's critical that they get boosters. So I guess in summary, Jeremy, to say that the hospital currently is coping extremely well. We've got very good systems. We've got lots of options to increase our capacity as required. And we've got now a lot of treatment options, but prevention via boosting with vaccination remains the key.
Are you learning any useful lessons from overseas at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all in contact with colleagues both in Europe and the US who are seeing very large numbers both in the community, but also increased hospitalisation. And as I mentioned, that problem or that need to have a booster has really been the key. There's some of our treatments that are still very effective with both Delta and Omicron. Some of the monoclonal antibodies, we've learned that one in particular is still very effective, whereas the others may be waning in their protection. So we've learnt a lot from overseas, and I guess that's been one of the benefits of being in Australia and being able to learn what's happened overseas before it comes to Australia. So we've had time to prepare both with previous waves, but also with this wave.
How great is the risk of exposure for a patient or a staff member in hospital right now, given the scale and transmissibility of Omicron?
Yeah, so all of our staff are in N95 masks and face shields. So, and when they're looking after patients who've got COVID or suspected COVID in what we call Tier 3 PPE. So we're not seeing transmission between staff members like we did last year. We also have much better understanding of the transmission and the need for ventilation. So all of our rooms have been assessed for their adequacy of ventilation, and we have HEPA filtration units in all the rooms and all the corridors. So we just haven't seen the transmission between staff members that we did last year with more understanding. And along with that, similar experiences with our patients, that all of our patients get tested regardless of their presentation on when they arrive in our emergency department. So every patient's tested, and we're very mindful of the risk of transmission to other patients. And that hasn't been a significant problem this year, whereas it was in previous waves last year.
We're heading into the festive season, the summer season. A lot of people are getting out and about and mingling. What's the best way for us to head off some of those doomsday scenarios of tens of thousands of cases a day in Australia?
If you can do your social functions outside, that's extremely beneficial for reducing the risk of transmission. If you have any symptoms or you're unwell, please get tested. So it's really about trying to remain with that social isolation of being outside rather than indoors, wearing masks where appropriate as per your state recommendations. And both when it becomes available for children, we're very keen for children to be vaccinated between 5 and 11, but particularly people to get boosted, and particularly those with comorbidities or those with higher risk of severe disease.
Dr. Doug Johnson, thank you.
No worries, thanks for your time.
Professor Sharon Lewin is the director of the Peter Doherty Institute for Infection and Immunity. She joins us now. Professor, thanks for joining us. You've consistently said that we should expect the unexpected with COVID. How concerned are you about these exposure sites and surging infections of Omicron right now?
Well, I think we need to be really cautious and watch this closely. At the moment, there are lots of unknowns about Omicron, but what we're learning is that in other countries, particularly South Africa, Omicron appears to cause milder disease. South Africa is, of course, a very different environment to Australia. However, we have a very large number of Australians vaccinated and very recently vaccinated, which is a good thing. However, the increasing numbers are, of course, a concern, because even if Omicron's much milder, a small percentage of a very large number of infections means more people in the hospital system, which is what our biggest concern is.
How much does waning immunity play into the issue right now and, the booster program slowly rolling out across the country?
Well, there are two issues here. There is, first of all, Omicron itself, which is less sensitive to neutralisation, meaning that you need high levels of antibodies to eliminate Omicron. So first of all, Omicron needs higher antibodies. And then we also know that after a period of several months from your second dose of vaccine, your immunity wanes, which means that your levels of antibodies decrease. So boosters definitely help. Boosters will increase antibody levels about 25-fold and get it in the range that Omicron needs. However, when we give boosters, we're balancing two things. We're balancing boosting up your antibodies and also the safety. And we have a lot of safety data on boosters at 5 months after the second dose. We don't have a lot of safety data after 2 to 3 months of the second dose. So the recommendations at the moment, and they may well change, is that given what we know about the safety at 5 months, where it's very safe, and given what we know about antibody levels, the recommendation is to have boosters at 5 months. Now, the UK have chosen to go for a shorter period, but they don't have that information on safety at 3 months at the moment. And also they've got a very different situation being in the middle of winter than what we are in summer. So these are tricky decisions to be made. But at the moment, the recommendation is a booster at 5 months unless you're immunosuppressed. And then the recommendations are your booster should come at 2 months.
At the same time that all this is unfolding, restrictions are being eased in certain parts of the country. Masks are optional in most circumstances. We're told by governments that vaccination rates will hold the line with Omicron. The Prime Minister says we're in the new phase of the pandemic. that lockdowns aren't really on the cards right now. How much can you say with any certainty that we are over with lockdowns, over with masks, over with social distancing?
Well, I think all of those three things are actually very, very different public health measures. They're all in the toolbox, but they have a very wide range of impact. So lockdowns, extreme high level impact. We want to avoid that at all costs. Masks and distancing, lot less of an impact. I mean, having lived with masks for many months now in Melbourne, it's not a big deal really. I know that it's inconvenient, but it's a small intervention with potential added protection from infection. So I think those three things we will use in different ways. And as you've seen across the country, different states have made different calls on that extra level of protection that you might have for masks in certain settings. And I think that can be really confusing to people, because why don't you wear it in New South Wales, but yet we're wearing masks in retail in Victoria? And this does cause confusion. I personally think while there's a little bit of uncertainty about Omicron, the addition of masks in some settings such as retail makes sense to me, but there are still many unknowns.
There have been a couple of reports this week suggesting that New South Wales could hit 25,000 cases a day by the end of January, 1 million cases a day in the UK, that the infection rate was such that it was doubling every 4 days. Will that eventuate? How worried should we be if that were to be the case?
Well, first of all, Australia is in a very different situation to the UK. So we've got one of the highest rates of vaccination in the world, in New South Wales, up around 93, 94%. We've recently vaccinated, as opposed to many parts of the world, such as the UK and Europe, which means your antibody levels are high. And we have a universal booster program that's being rolled out right now with widespread access to boosters. And we're in summer. So all of that will have a big impact on the levels of infections that we're going to see. So I do think we're in a different situation in Australia to the UK. However, those very large numbers are concerning, because large numbers of infections can translate to an impact on our healthcare system. However, we're still learning about Omicron. Our data largely comes from South Africa, which is actually a very different community to Australia. South Africa has a lot of people that had past infection and very few people that are vaccinated. We have a lot of people that have vaccination and very few with past infection. So we will learn a lot over the coming weeks, and that will dictate the best public health response. But I think at the moment there are lots in our favour in Australia.
We know that variants are more likely to evolve in under-vaccinated populations. Where is the global vaccination drive at the moment, and what impact could Australia possibly have when you consider the scale of that task?
We still have a major problem with access and uptake of vaccination, particularly in lower middle income countries, primarily Africa. Less than 6% of the African continent have been vaccinated, and over 70% of high income countries have been vaccinated. That's just a huge imbalance. It's a matter of supply, but it's not all supply. I was hearing recently that in South Africa, only 25% of people are double vaccinated, and a major issue is still vaccine hesitancy and a lack of trust in the vaccines. So I think Australia could have a major contribution in two ways. Of course, to assist with supply by purchasing vaccines and contributing to the international coalition called COVAX, but also funding programs around vaccine hesitancy and implementation. Even in a country like Australia, high income country, high levels of education, implementation hasn't been that easy, and we have counterbalanced vaccine hesitancy, I think, very well given the numbers we've achieved. So we should make a big commitment to investing in programs to assist countries that really are suffering from major issues around misinformation and vaccine hesitancy.
Professor Lewin, it's so good to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thanks very much, Jeremy.
And that is the show for this week and this year. Thank you for watching. We'll be back in 2022. In the meantime, stay safe. Have a happy Christmas and New Year. Bye for now.
creepy.
even more
The
creepier.
twins. They're the twins.
So we talking about some more video game reactions, man. Video game reactions, man. What's the name of it?
This is Dead by Daylight. All killers trailers?
They all killer trailers. So we definitely look forward to checking out like new games, man. You know, especially looking like the storylines of them and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the best part.
I enjoy playing video games.
I like the storyline.
You like she like more of a softer like.
Yeah, I don't think I like all of the like
Call of Duty.
super fast. I don't have the hand-eye coordination yet for the fast.
But we're gonna see what this is about. Hopefully it's a good game, and it's not right here. Yeah. Damn, boy, it's like a horror movie.
That's what it looks like.
Well, she out of there, boy. She out of there, boy.
She's in a hurry, that's for sure. What is she running from? I feel like it's gotta be like a zombie. Ooh, he's in a
Aw,
bear trap.
snap, he's in a bear trap.
Sucks. And that's
Do you
painful.
help him or you leave?
That's what she's trying to figure out.
Ah, she left him. She said, "Screw it." I mean, I would have tried to help him though.
Yeah, if you can get him out quick enough.
Yeah.
But then he's not gonna be able to move, probably either.
Yeah, I guess we gotta help. It's gonna be like dead weight, but I don't know. I just can't let nobody stay there. But I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
Oh snap!
Crap. Someone's gonna be behind her, I feel like.
Yeah, that's how it always is in them like horror movies. She going downstairs. Ah, snaps. What is that? It's like a shadow figure.
I know, I just saw that too.
Girl, turn around.
I feel like she just went into the killer's den.
Yeah. Where he stored.
Doesn't
You
seem
can't do
smart.
that. You know that's not never good, man.
No.
Ah, snap. Yeah.
She should have never gone down there.
Heck no.
So they're not like zombies, they're just literally like
Killers, like a
like
Jason
Chainsaw
Voorhees type killer.
Massacres or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, takes Chainsaw Massacre, Jason Voorhees. Girl, he's finna come get you. That was a bad move.
I feel like that's
Look
the
at
first place you're gonna look for
Yeah.
someone hiding.
Nah, he pretended. He
Yeah.
pretended like he didn't see her. He gonna come right through that thing. Probably right like behind
Yeah,
her and
you
stuff.
might be right.
Look at
You knew it. Dang.
Yay!
I can't tell though,
Definitely
are they human? Like they almost look like it could be not human.
like superhuman, like Jason Voorhees or something like that.
No, or something like a because it was either a helmet that was a skeleton or it was literally like a skull.
It's like it was a mask though, a skull.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. They could be like superhuman, like Jason Voorhees,
Maybe,
Michael
yeah.
Myers. You know, Texas Chainsaw. He wasn't
Creepy.
superhuman. He was just a human that was like had a chainsaw.
Had
It was crazy.
crazy powers.
And he had
I mean,
powers.
crazy strength.
Yeah,
is what I
yeah,
meant. I didn't mean
strength,
powers. I
but
meant
it was like in a realm of human possibility
yes,
and strength.
exactly.
Oh snap!
See, their heads look weird.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
saying I think they aren't human. They're some kind of
Yeah, I
weird
guess they're not.
being or something. I don't know what they are, but
Dang. Ah,
coming
snap.
right behind them.
Oh, so I guess you play as the killer.
They just show up out of nowhere.
Yeah, damn. Oh, he over. The rat. So you can play as this creature and go around like just taking people out.
Yeah.
So you probably can choose to be like
Which one you are gonna be?
Yeah,
maybe?
the human or like the creatures or whatever. I always feel like an abandoned like forest somewhere, man. Look at that. The guy with the chainsaw. Why are you running? This is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, man. Oh!
I thought he took her head off.
Yeah.
Oh, now he
Yeah,
did.
she over with.
Oh.
That's hillbilly right there, man.
Hillbilly.
That's
The
hillbilly right there. The hillbilly.
The hill.
I said the hillybilly.
You did.
I did. The hillybilly. Oh boy, they made him based off Texas Chainsaw probably. Oh.
That does look like Michael Myers' home too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
So the night he came home. So why the heck? Maybe she probably didn't know that, but she ran into his home. New killer, Michael Myers.
Where's Michael Myers, boy?
Ooh.
Oh!
Laser bears.
She's like, oh man. Oh!
Oh my god!
The white face, dude!
He looks like a Frankenstein because he's got
Yeah.
a spark of madness. Because he's got his lips and his eyes
Oh,
open.
what do they come up with these character designs?
I don't know.
Man?
Well, it looks
Oh, playing Freddy.
I feel like the Leatherface was kind of supposed to be Jason, don't you think?
No.
Oh,
Freddy.
yeah, because there's Freddy.
Leather
This is who you...
paper. All kind of stuff. Oh, you
I was
dang.
asking which of those.
Made out of you. Leatherface.
Oh.
Okay.
Leatherface, this
Yeah.
is yours.
Leatherface.
This is who you choose.
Like some sauce
Yeah,
type stuff.
see,
Yep.
so I kind of wonder if these are all...
Yeah, John
But I don't
Kramer.
know all of them.
Jigsaw.
Yep. Oh, it's her. It's the woman Jigsaw one.
Well, it's like sometimes his Amanda was his accomplice.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Saw. Yep.
The pig. Interesting.
Man.
There's a bunch. Could be the killer. Maybe he's already
Yeah.
dead.
The Halloween. I mean, Michael Myers.
You know where they are. So
Yeah.
to
Oh, you
speak,
can hear him
yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But boy.
Just before 6 a.m, a topless Terry Dennehy sprints towards his shed. He has one thing on his mind.
I thought, no way, no one's taking me to ute, that's mine.
As the vehicle picks up speed, Terry lunges into the Land Cruiser.
There ain't much going to stop it, you know, so I thought, well, the only way I can do is jump in with him. If he's going, I'm going with him.
He puts the thief in a headlock and takes control of the steering wheel.
He said to me, he said, you've got me, I've got him all right, I'm going to give him a pizzling. I'm going to give this guy what for?
He manages to stop the ute. His partner Dee then rushes in armed with a plank of wood and starts swinging.
Oh, I got him good. Got him good, yeah, she did, yeah.
He keeps screaming, ouch, ouch, stop it. And I said, I'm not going to stop you, mate. Of course, I keep pushing him and running. I was aiming for his head.
The thief spent 2 hours inside the shed filling the vehicle with equipment and actually hid down there when Terry came in to investigate. The hooded crook took his time working through the shed, playing a stealthy game of cat and mouse with the unaware homeowners. The couple were only tipped off after checking the CCTV.
We heard the car, and I said, the car is starting. Get the sorry. Get into the car, get into the shed.
Battered and bruised, the burglar escaped empty-handed. Police are looking for him. Terry has this warning for him if he decides to return.
Give it a go if you want to. Yeah, give it a go, but next time it'll be a lot worse. Yeah, I'd love to see him back here.
Josh Ribberich, 7 News.
A mountain of flowers and toys is forming at the Tasmanian primary school, where 5 children died in a freak accident involving a jumping castle. As the community of Devonport is consumed by grief, police today released the names of the young victims.
These are their bright, beautiful faces. 12-year-old Zane Mellor and his classmates Jai Sheehan, Jalayla Jane Marie Jones and Peter Dott, along with the youngest victim, 11-year-old Addison Stewart. 5 young lives lost in an unthinkable tragedy.
It just hurts knowing that I won't be able to see him again.
Peter's older sister today returning to Hillcrest Primary, surrounded by loved ones in their overwhelming grief.
We're not the only one that's hurting, and we know that, but it's a horrible time.
Families and friends of the other victims paying tribute online. Zane remembered as a beautiful, caring, gentle soul who had challenges growing up, but that never set him back. He kept achieving. While Addison's auntie said, "Everyone is devastated. She was always such a sweet, kind, old soul. We all love you, Paddy Mellon." At the school's entrance in Devonport, a makeshift memorial becomes a shrine.
It's going to be an unfortunate memory that's going to be embedded in the school for years, and just can't take that away.
A sea of notes of love and loss from teachers, classmates and strangers.
My children go to this school, and it's just heartbreaking to see that it's all broken down. The whole community's broken. I brought a Care Bear and I put to the angels to take the children to somewhere where there's just happiness and laughter and love.
A salute from the Commissioner, his colleagues still reeling today.
I know people are sending their thoughts and prayers from right across the country and even further afield.
The Premier paying his respects.
The tragedy which occurred yesterday is beyond comprehension. It's devastating, heartbreaking. It's just simply incomprehensible.
So too, the Prime Minister.
I just want to assure them that we will do everything we can to support you through this time, not just today, but into the weeks and months that are ahead.
On the school grounds, investigators are hard at work. Tasmania Police, the coroner and WorkSafe piecing together what went so horribly wrong.
We all have a lot of questions and we need to form that as part of our investigation.
And among all the tragedy, there is some saving grace. One child who was initially seriously injured is now at home, recovering in the arms of their family. While the nation gets behind the tight-knit community, a fundraising page set up by a local already passing more than $850,000.
We can't comprehend how those families are feeling or what they're going through right now, so hopefully this can just alleviate some of those burdens.
Well, live now to Mimi Becker in Devonport. Mimi, what is the latest condition of the children still in hospital?
Mark, 3 other children were critically injured and they've all been flown to hospital in Hobart. We understand they're still fighting for their lives. One of them is a young boy and he has been placed in an induced coma. As for their classmates, police have said today that 40 Year 5 and 6 students were participating in the jumping castle and Zorball activity, many of them witnessing this tragedy unfold. Counselling services have been offered and some of those students are here tonight with the wider school community paying tribute at what is a memorial that's growing by the hour, Mark.
Mimi, thank you. And if you or anyone in your family needs help, support is available at this challenging time. You can access counsellors and advice through the Kids Helpline, Beyond Blue and Lifeline. The numbers are there on your screen. Good evening. COVID is not stealing Christmas. That was the message today from the Premier, despite case numbers hitting a record high. Many Sydney's